All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're cracking open a puzzle that affects pretty much every dollar you spend, the price of everything. We're going to uncover the hidden forces that give some companies this incredible power to set prices, while others, well, they have none at all. Let's get to it. So let's start with this. Have you ever really thought about it? Why is it that a single farmer with thousands of acres of corn has zero say in what it sells for, but a single tech company can basically name its price for that new phone in your pocket? The answer, and it's a fascinating one, is hidden in the very structure of the markets they work in.
You see, it helps to think of markets not as just one thing, but as a long spectrum, a range. On one end, you've got total chaos, thousands of competitors with zero control. And way over on the other end, you've got one single player with all the power. We're about to take a walk from one end of that spectrum to the other.
Our first stop is what you might call the zero-power zone, perfect competition. This is a world with a huge number of sellers, and they're all offering the exact same thing, an identical product. Think about a massive wheat market. No single farmer, no matter how big, can just decide to raise their price. They are pure price takers. If they try to charge even a tiny bit more, you'll just walk over to the next person.
Okay, let's take a step down the line. We're now in the world of monopolistic competition. And you know what? This is where most of the businesses you and I interact with every day actually live. There are still a lot of sellers, but here's the crucial difference. Their products are differentiated. Your favorite coffee shop isn't just selling hot bean water, it's selling its unique blend, its vibe, its brand, and that gives it a little slice of pricing power.
Moving further down, things get a lot more concentrated. We've reached the oligopoly, or as I like to think of it, competition among the few. Here, just a handful of massive companies dominate the entire market. Think about your mobile phone provider or the big airlines. The key thing here is that they are all watching each other like hawks. If one airline drops its prices for a flight, you can bet the others will react almost immediately. It's a constant strategic chess match. And here we are, at the very end of the line, the total power zone, the monopoly. Just one seller, a completely unique product, and usually massive walls that make it impossible for anyone else to even try to compete. Your local electric company is a classic example. You can't just switch to a competitor, right? There isn't one. This single company is the ultimate price maker. So let's just put these two polar opposites side by side for a second. The difference is pretty stark, isn't it? You go from many sellers to one, from identical products to a unique one. But the real story is in the last two rows. You go from having absolutely no control over price to having considerable control. And it all boils down to those barriers to entry, those high walls that protect a monopoly from anyone else trying to get in the game.
But here's where it gets really interesting. There's this strange profit paradox back in that world of perfect competition. You'd think with all those businesses and all that activity, people will be making a killing. But the very nature of the market creates this powerful, relentless squeeze on profits.
So here's how that squeeze works. Picture this. One farmer has an amazing year, makes a ton of money. Well, because there are no walls, no barriers, other people see that success and they rush in. Suddenly, there are way more farmers selling wheat. That flood of new competition increases the total supply. And what happens when supply goes up? The price goes down. For everyone. And in the long run, those juicy profits get competed away until businesses are only making what's called a normal profit, which is basically just enough to cover costs and keep the lights on. So if you're a business, you're probably thinking, how do I escape that squeeze? How do I get out of that trap? Well, you've got to find a twist. You have to become a master in the art of differentiation. You have to make yourself different. And that brings us back to monopolistic competition. Here, the name of the game is standing out from the crowd. Businesses fight to make their products seem different, and that difference can be real, like a secret recipe, or it can be totally imaginary, built entirely through branding and advertising. They spend a ton on marketing and compete on things other than just price, like better service, a cooler vibe, or just being in a more convenient spot. This old quote from the economist E.H. Chamberlain absolutely nails it. He's saying that advertising and marketing costs aren't just about telling people you exist. The real goal is way more strategic. It's to actually change customer demand, to make people want your specific brand over all the others, even if it costs more. Now, once a company has a little bit of that market power, it unlocks a really powerful strategy. It's called price discrimination. And it's really simple. It's just selling the exact same product at the exact same time to different people for different prices. If you've ever bought a movie ticket or a plane ticket, you've seen this in action. And it really comes in three main flavors. First degree is kind of the holy grail for a seller. is charging every single customer the absolute maximum price they are willing to pay. Second degree is based on how much you buy, like when you get a discount for buying in bulk. But the one you see all the time, that's third degree. That's when companies split us into groups like students, adults, or seniors, and just charge each group a different price.
Okay, so we've toured the different market types, but on a random Tuesday afternoon, how does a manager actually decide what number to put on the price tag? What's going on in their head? Well, it usually boils down to one of three main ways of thinking.
First, there's cost-based pricing. This is all about looking inward. You figure out what it costs you to make something, you add the profit you want, and boom, that's your price. Then you have competition-based pricing. This is about looking sideways at what your rivals are charging and pricing accordingly. And finally, you have what might be the most powerful of all, demand-based pricing. This isn't about you or your competitors. It's all about the customer and the value they think your product has.
Now, inside that demand-based world, there is a whole playbook of advanced strategies, tactics that marketers and companies use on us every single day. So let's do a little rapid-fire round and look at some of the most common ones.
So on the menu today, we've got price skimming, penetration pricing, the super interesting psychological pricing, bundle pricing, and value-based pricing. Each one is a tool designed for a very specific job. First up, price skimming. This is when a company launches a brand new product, like a smartphone or a gaming console, at a really high price. They want to skim the most profit off the top from those early adopters who just have to have it first. Then, over time, they slowly lower the price to pull in the rest of us.
Penetration pricing is the total opposite. Here, you launch with a crazy low price. Sometimes you even lose money at first. The goal isn't profit. Not yet. The goal is speed and market share. You want to grab as many customers as possible, as fast as possible. Think of a new streaming service with a super cheap introductory offer. That's penetration pricing.
All right, now for a fun one, because it plays directly with the weird quirks of our brains. It's called psychological pricing, and it's all based on the idea that how a price looks and feels can be even more important than the number itself. And this is the classic example. Why does $99.99 feel so much cheaper than $100? It's just a 1-cent difference. It's because our brains are weird. We tend to anchor on that first number we read, so the 9 registers as a much better deal than the 1. It's simple, but man, is it effective.
Another one you see everywhere is bundle pricing. This is just packaging a few products together and selling them for a single price. That value meal at the fast food place or a suite of software, that's bundling. And when it's done right, you feel like you're getting a great deal and the company ends up selling more stuff. It can be a real win-win.
So, here's the bottom line. From the local farmer's market to the app on your phone, prices are never just random numbers. They're the end result of market structures and very deliberate, very clever strategies. So now that you've seen behind the curtain, now that you know the playbook, the real question is, how does it change the way you shop?